Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 3 News Now. It is Monday, September 28th. I'm Stephanie Haney. Thanks for being here to get filled in on the top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app so you can know what is impacting you here in Northeast Ohio. We've got the latest numbers in from the Ohio Department of Health on COVID-19 here in Ohio, so we'll break those down for you right now. The cases are up from Sunday in terms of the new daily reported cases. The number of deaths are in the single digits again today. Let's get into those specific numbers. And also with a reminder that the reason we look at these numbers every single day is because we are watching for that 14-day downward trend, something that we are still looking for as these numbers bounce around so much. So in the last 24 hours, there have been 993 new reported cases of COVID-19 here in Ohio. That's up from 800 reported on Sunday. Now, that brings the total number of cases we've seen here in Ohio since March 9th to now 151,802. And as we talk about these numbers every day, it can be sort of numbing to hear these numbers. So to try and put this in a little perspective for you in a slightly different way today, I want to talk about dating back to March 9th. That was 203 days ago. So if you take a look at the number of cases we've seen here in Ohio, that averages out to 747 cases per day since March 9th of COVID-19. Now, of course, we started with a much smaller number and a buildup, but just trying to give us an idea of the context here when we talk about these numbers, when we talk about these new reported cases in the last 24 hours. Now, our 7-day average testing positivity rate is 2.9%. That is up 0.2% from Sunday. So over the last 7 days, for all of the COVID-19 tests being done, 2.9% of them are coming back positive. Now let's look at the number of deaths reported in the last 24 hours. There have been 5 new deaths reported here in Ohio in the last 24 hours, up from just 1 new death reported on Sunday and 6 new deaths reported on Saturday. Now, last week, the numbers bounced around a lot. We had a day in the single digits. We had a day where there were 52 new deaths reported. So we'll do the same thing here for the deaths that we just did for the cases. Since March 9th, 203 days ago, there have been 4,746 total deaths related to COVID-19. So if you break those down per day, that's 23 deaths per day from COVID-19 here in Ohio. That's a lot of people that, quite frankly, we haven't had the time to stop and breathe and mourn the passing of those people, almost 5,000 people from COVID-19 here in Ohio. So something to think about. And if you think about that per day, it's a little overwhelming, the number of people who have passed away from COVID-19, not only here in Ohio, but at the national and the global level, which is something we'll talk about in just a moment. The total number of new people hospitalized in the last 24 hours is 91 new hospitalizations. And right now there are 681 people who are actively hospitalized. Of those 681 people, 197 of them are currently being treated in the ICU. So that's just about 29% of all active hospitalizations are being treated in the intensive care unit. We've seen 10 new ICU admissions in the last 24 hours. And if we take a look at our hospital beds, 72% of them are being used right now by patients who are in the hospital. So 28% of our hospital beds available for people who might need them to be treated in some sort of a medical facility. Now, let's take a look at the U.S. and the global numbers related to COVID-19. These come from Johns Hopkins University. The U.S. is now well over 7 million reported cases of COVID-19, and globally, we will hit 1 million global deaths today or tomorrow. We are now within hundreds of that number globally, according to Johns Hopkins University. The total number of cases reported for COVID-19 in the U.S. is now at 7,128,223, and the total number of U.S. deaths is now at 204,863. The U.S. hit that milestone of 200 deaths last Tuesday. Now, as we've said here many times, the U.S. has about 4% of the global population, but it has about 21% of the global deaths and about 21.5% of the global cases, that number ticking down just slightly. Globally, there have now been 33,217,344 reported cases of COVID-19, and the total number of global deaths reported from COVID-19 right now is at 999,255. So just within 800 deaths of hitting 1 million global deaths related to COVID-19. This will definitely be a topic of conversation tomorrow at the first presidential debate between current President Donald Trump and Democratic candidate Joe Biden. That's happening tomorrow at the Health Education campus of Case Western Reserve University and the Cleveland Clinic right here in Cleveland, Ohio. That'll be at 9 p.m. running to 10:30 p.m. The topics will be COVID-19, the economy, President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden's records working for the government, the Supreme Court, race and violence in our cities, and the integrity of the election. And of course, we can expect to hear about that New York Times report about President Donald Trump's taxes maybe falling under the category of the economy, or there might be some shifting of the topics because, as the news warrants, there is sometimes shifting of the topics. But in any case, it's expected to be broken down between 6 topics. Those are the 6 topics that have been listed right now, 15 minutes per topic. It will be moderated by Chris Wallace of Fox News Sunday, and you'll be able to watch it right here on 3 News on TV, but also on WKYC.com and our WKYC app, as well as our Facebook and our YouTube pages. There will not be opening statements at this debate, and the first question, we do know, will go to President Donald Trump. There will be a limited number of people in attendance. However, COVID-19 protocols have been put in place, and the Cleveland Clinic is serving as health security advisor to help mitigate any potential risk of exposure or spread of COVID-19 at that debate. Again, the first presidential debate happening tomorrow, 9 p.m. right here in Cleveland. We'll have everything you need for that on WKYC, whether on the air or online. Now let's talk about some history that was made yesterday when the Cleveland Browns played the Washington football team, and there were female coaches on both sidelines and a female referee. That made history for the NFL, having female representation on both teams that were playing and also on the officiating staff. Callie Bronson, serving as Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski's chief of staff. Jennifer King was working with Washington, and NFL official Sarah Thomas called the game. First game in the NFL history for that to happen. Now, Thomas became the first female full-time official in NFL history in 2015, so 5 years ago. King was hired by Washington this year, and Brownson was hired by the Browns this year. Now, Brownson previously worked as an intern with the New York Jets and the Buffalo Bills, and as an offensive quality control coach at Dartmouth. She sat down with our 3 News Jim Donovan, the voice of the Browns, in February, talking about the increased presence of females in professional football, and she says it's an awesome thing to see. Brownson said, "I'm going to come in contact with hundreds of people in my time here. I'm going to leave a good impression on them, and in a couple of years, when they go to another organization, they're going to be able to say, we had a female as a part of our organization. It was a really good thing." And Bronson says that it will then be a ripple effect from there. She hopes to see more representation of females in NFL. Definitely an incredible moment for little girls around the country who were able to look at that football game and see themselves on the sidelines and also officiating. So pretty incredible moment in NFL history last night, and it happened right here in Cleveland. Here's an update for you from the Tribe. We are preparing to watch them in the playoffs also tomorrow, which will be kicking off at 7 p.m. against the New York Yankees at Progressive Field. But looking ahead to next season, Cleveland Baseball has announced a new flexible voucher package situation for 2021 season tickets. If fans are allowed at Progressive Field next season, there will be ticket packages available of 20, 40, and 80 games. So this will allow fans to purchase advance tickets without locking them into specific games. Here's how it will work. Each voucher will be able to redeem for a single game ticket for any regular season game during the 2021 season. Each voucher is good for 1 single game ticket, and each person can redeem up to 8 vouchers per game for their group. That's kind of something similar to what we saw with what the Cleveland Browns were doing with those pods of groups of people. So we don't know exactly how they plan to space people out at Progressive Field, but that does sound similar to what we saw the Browns doing as well. Now, when you buy the packages, fans can purchase vouchers for 3 general seating sections: bleachers, upper level, and lower level. Then when it comes down to redeem them, you can get more specific with like upper box or family deck in the upper level, for example. These voucher plans will go on sale on Monday, October 5th. Also, one more thing to keep in mind for next season: should fans be allowed to be inside Progressive Field, the Tribe is moving to mobile-only ticketing in 2021. So no more saving those ticket stubs. That's kind of a nostalgic thing that I'm a little sad to see go. You won't be able to save that ticket stub if maybe it's your first baseball game with your family or what have you. But sign up the times seems to be the easiest thing to do to keep people the safest, to reduce the contact that people are having, and also to cut down on potential issues they're having with security issues, with people trying to pass off fake tickets, so on and so forth, and that sort of thing. So mobile only starting next year, assuming fans are allowed. We've got all those details up on WKYC.com and in our WKYC app. Something else you need to know if you are hungry and you like knowing about good food to eat: it is Downtown Cleveland's Fall Restaurant Week that is starting today through Sunday. There are more than 20 restaurants participating, so you can check out those menus at a much nicer price, both casual and fine dining, and for dine-in and carry-out. That is one thing that we can appreciate. Usually at a restaurant week, you can't necessarily get that carry-out, but because so many places are doing the carry-out thing right now because of the COVID-19 restrictions, Cleveland's Downtown Restaurant Week for the fall is allowing carryout. Now, if you're worried about parking, there is also a free parking coupon on the Downtown Cleveland Alliance's website. This is brought to us by Downtown Cleveland Alliance, by the way. Just a few of the restaurants participating are Butcher and the Brewer, Lago East Bank, Pickwick and Frolics Restaurant and Club, The Naughty Mermaid, Luca Italian Cuisine, Alley Cat Oyster Bar, that is one of my personal favorites, Cleveland Chop, Beerhead, Thirsty Dog, Dante's Inferno. There's a bunch more. We've got them listed on WKYC.com, so check that out. That's now through Sunday. And also now through Sunday is Cleveland's very first Taco Week. This is sponsored by Cleveland Scene Magazine, and you can get $2 tacos at some of the most popular places around town. There's more than a dozen taco joints that are participating in this. As with Burger Week, which is another thing that is sponsored by Cleveland Scene, you can these restaurants will be highlighting one or two of their favorite dishes. Now, there are commandments to Taco Week. For starters, there is a minimum order of 3 tacos per stop. Also, keep in mind, the restaurants participating are some of the best in the area, some of the most popular taco spots in the area. So your choice could run out if you wait to order, if you wait until later in the evening. So keep that in mind. And Cleveland Scene recommends supplementing your taco order with some of the other things like drinks and side dishes and other things, because it is going to be such an inexpensive meal for you. Not a bad opportunity to check out some of the other things on the menu. And do keep in mind, you're getting a great deal on these tacos, but the people who are providing your service are still giving you the same level of service. So tip generously as if you were paying full price. That comes from someone who worked in the food industry for a very long time. And I also think, personally, it would be great for all of us if everyone had to work in the food industry for at least a little bit, just so you could appreciate what it's like. I think we could all appreciate if we had more perspective from people in our everyday lives. Anyway, that was a tangent, but some of the restaurants who are participating in Cleveland Taco Week are Barrio Tacos, Blue Habanero, Lindy's Lake House, also in the Flats, and Lakewood, and Southern Tier Brewing Company, Cleveland. Just a couple of them. You can check out the full list on WKYC.com. You can download your passport at clevelandtacoweek.com, or you can also pick it up at any of the stops on the taco tour. So if you love tacos, this is the week to have tacos literally every day, not just on Tuesday. That's it for your 3 News Now afternoon update for Monday, September 28th. I'll see you next up on What's New at 5 p.m. with your trending stories in the Clicking in Cleveland segment. Remember, 3 News Now is now a podcast, so if you are listening to this, thank you. Please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. It really does help us get in front of more people, get us in more ears, so that we can spread all of the good information that's out there about Northeast Ohio and make sure people are staying connected. Shoot me a tweet or send me a DM if you subscribe to the podcast. I would love to hear from you. It is _ Stephanie Haney on both Twitter and Instagram. And I'll see you back here tomorrow on 3 News Now. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon, everyone. Stay safe and be well. I'm Stephanie Haney.